Well, my name is Nicholas Bell. I'm the chief film critic with IONCINEMA, and it is my extreme pleasure to be able to speak with Julie Schroell on her first standalone independent documentary, River Tales, which has premiered, it's played at several film festivals, including the Luxembourg City Film Festival. It is Luxembourg's official submission for the 93rd Academy Awards for Best International Feature Film, so congratulations. And we're here today to have a conversation about it, and yeah, so thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. I'm happy to be here.
How has it been experiencing kind of this news while we're locked in a pandemic?
Yeah, it was a big surprise. I was really happy to have this good news. I didn't believe this was going to happen because my film is a documentary, and I didn't expect Luxembourg to choose a documentary for representing Luxembourg at the Oscars, which is a really nice thing. Yeah. And it's kind of a very intimate, small film, and so I'm really happy it made it all the way there. It's a big challenge, and a very good, amazing recompensation for all the work that is behind.
Yeah, and it appears that a lot of work went into this. I want to talk about how you first came to, because it's about Nicaragua, and how you came to this being your first documentary feature. The focal point kind of is a teacher and actor, Yem. Was he the jumping off point for you? Did you discover him first, or was what the history behind what is presented here, was that the beginning point?
So this film started with the bigger picture. So the film started when I first heard of this canal project in Nicaragua, and all the way it took some time, a lot of research, to make a film about Yem and his theater group. But to make it short, when I was in Nicaragua in 2014, it was the canal topic was everywhere. It was in all advertising, on the buses, it was on TV every day, on the radio. Everyone was talking about this canal, and the government was pushing it forward, saying that it was it would be the miracle, the biggest infrastructure project in the world, a miracle that would come and take the people out of poverty, bring economic development. And so this was really big, and people were hoping for this, and many were very open to the project and looking forward. Then on the other hand, you had a lot of critics also. And there was a revolt movement, and the first manifestation, anti-canal movement, started when I was there, and it was it was a farmers' movement. So people living in the canal route, in the sector where the canal was supposed to be built, were starting also to fight against it. So I started with the big picture, and I noticed after a while that this canal project actually is it's not the first canal project. There have been more than 70 canal projects in Nicaragua so far. And it was always, before the Panama Canal was built, there was a big, there were many possible routes in Central America because of its geographical situation. And Nicaragua was always an option. And even after the Panama Canal, the left politic part of the world always, well, since the Sandinista revolution, used this area to build like a proper canal in concurrence with the Panama Canal, the American Canal. And then I noticed, okay, this is a myth. This is not going to happen. It is every government uses these ideas since hundreds of years to create this hope and to maybe take the focus away from real problems. And so I read a lot about the history of the canal, and some very amazing stories came up with people trying to build this canal from all over the world. So I got more and more interested in the more the history of the canal, and also the history of the transit route, because before there is a canal, or even without the canal, there is a route in Nicaragua formed by this river where the film takes place, Rio San Juan, which actually comes from the Nicaragua lake and goes towards the Pacific. And this is basically a transit route that already the indigenous people used, and the Spanish conquerors, and the pirates, the Americans, Vanderbilt made a whole way there for the people seeking for gold in California, so that they could pass through a safe land. So I got to know all this history, and also the how this canal story and geographical situation has been present in the unconsciousness of the people. And this is when Yam came in the story, because I met Yam, who comes from that region. He was born in El Castillo, where the film takes place, then lived in Managua, where he teaches anthropology at the university, and he's an actor. And he regularly goes back into the region of Rio San Juan to teach theater to the local population. And in that context, I met him. And it didn't happen immediately, but we just found out, or I thought, okay, this would be great to use his work and the implication of the population, which became also a very important factor to not go there from all the way from Europe, make a film and come back and show it here. So it was important for me to include the locals also in this history, because the access to culture and history in these parts of the world is not automatic. Mm-hmm. And also more and more Nicaragua is there's a political crisis, and there's a lot of censorship, and it's basically a dictatorship where access to culture is so limited. So it became very important to bring this history to the people there. And then the work with Yam was, we actually brought our forces together and wrote a piece about the history of the Rio San Juan, together with this children theater group. And then the film crew started joining, and we started filming the process. So it's two projects, if you want.
Right. I think that the mechanism of using the children's play was an excellent way to kind of usher the audience into this history that, at least as Westerners or Americans, Nicaragua, I think, is a place that when they think of it, it's involving the Iran-Contra affair and things like that, instead of the kind of strange historical roots and parallels that I think at least come up when I was watching. I thought it was fascinating watching the children in between rehearsals talk about what they think of this canal project and how, whether it's good or bad, and in their various roles that they're playing within this play. It reminded me of, I think the closest equivalent in the US would be, how we teach children to understand Christopher Columbus and Thanksgiving, and just the kind of very the wisdom and disparities that these children, and that as most kids do, I'm sure, are mimicking what they hear at home and what their parents say and their parents' views, but just how they were able to kind of walk through their thoughts and understandings of this canal, I thought was profound. I'm curious about how long did the shooting process take, and also what did the children think as you were there filming them?
Mm-hmm. So I think we shot the film over a period of 2 years, but altogether 40 days, split over 2 years. So there was the theater piece, and then there was the private stories of the people. We were in the summer season and then the rainy season, and yes, but I spent a lot of more time. I spent nearly a year in Nicaragua, and a lot of time in this village, in El Castillo, and yeah, it was a long process also to get to know the families, to really be part of the families, and trying to immerse myself as much as possible in the film, and I think it was it paid. Is that how you say? Because like in the end, people didn't really notice me anymore. And I made a lot of going back to Managua, to the capital, coming back, and everything is by boat. So if you arrive there, people are waiting on the little port that you see in the film, and they welcome you. So it's a really warm population, and I think the kids were happy that something was going on, that we were doing this piece. It was also something big. We were so outside of the film, we were rehearsing 2 or 3 months the play. So for them, it was like a regular class. They came after school. They came on the weekends. And we were rehearsing in the castle, in the ruins, actually, of the Spanish castle, mm-hmm. that they used to protect themselves from the pirate attacks. So that was quite phenomenal to be in a location like this. And it was also this Latin American atmosphere of being something mystical was around this project all the time, and it was also a reference for the film.
Yeah, I think that comes across as well. It feels kind of magical watching that unfold, and part of that, I think, is also the beautiful look of the film. Can you talk about putting your crew together? Because you have the director of photography is Frank Pineda, who has filmed a number of projects in Nicaragua, including about pesticides on bananas and about sex workers in Nicaragua. And I noticed your line producer, who Pineda has worked with, forgive me if I'm pronouncing the name incorrectly, but Florence Yagüe. Jauge, sorry. I'm assuming that you met with them based on their past resume work in the area.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So actually, Frank Pineda and Florence Jauge, they have a production company in Nicaragua called Camila Films, right. And they are actually quite famous filmmakers. And Frank Pineda is the director of photography, and he worked a lot internationally and has a big filmography, and he's an amazing cinematographer. And on the top of this, he has a special status in Nicaragua because he also filmed the revolution in the 80s and all the campaigns, the alphabetization campaigns. And so he has like a kind of, he's protected because it's not possible to come from Europe and make a film in Nicaragua about a topic like this without collaborating with people, with Frank or people like this, because it's not the official way. Often you have to know, and it's a region where it's a lot of military presence because it's on the border with Costa Rica, and there's a lot of problems also with this border. So, and it's a very remote and militarized place, so you're always stopped everywhere you go by boat. You have to show your passport, your what you do there, etc. And working with Frank and Florence was also the only way to make this film happen, because they have the connections and the status of a hero for Frank.
Yes, I think it comes technically. Also, just it's a beautiful film, and I think that all kind of comes across in how it feels, kind of like a natural nexus of how you're approaching it. And I noted that you double majored in, or have a double master's in contemporary history and screenwriting, and to me, this seems kind of like a very apropos formation of both of those things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
When did you finish? So when was production complete? It was before 2018?
The production the filming was complete beginning of 2018.
Okay.
And what happened just after that was also completely unbelievable, and
right.
Was the beginning of this civil unrest that is still going on today in Nicaragua, that started in April 2018. And this also came quite unexpected, because also, and it's funny because afterwards, retroactively, you see the situations where Yam talks to his mother about politics, and that the young people are not interested anymore. And this is just a few months after we shot this. There was a big unrest starting, and mostly with the students. Students were the first who went to the streets at that time. And so the film is also like a portrait of one place in just before this happened.
Right.
And Yam had to leave the country and is still abroad. He cannot come back to Nicaragua. Like more than 100,000 people left Nicaragua after the April 2018. So that's the thing about documentary. You never know what comes, and if I had started a little bit later, the film would have been another film probably, or no film at all, because it would have been possible.
Yeah, I was going to say you're probably pretty lucky to be completed before that happened. But even, watching your documentary motivated me to, I wanted to look up and research all kinds of things. And there's really not too much, at least in the past several months, about news stories coming out of the area. And what you can find kind of is ominous and troubling. But even beyond that, about the Chinese, ex-billionaire Wang Jing, just reading about all of those things are very fascinating. I guess to wrap things up, are you in touch with any of the subjects, including Yem, since all of this?
Yes, I'm. I keep. We are still in touch, and it's a pity it's not getting better. Yeah. So Yam is he's abroad, and he's working in construction. He's a university teacher now. He's an immigrant. The children, unluckily we couldn't show the film yet in Nicaragua because also we have to wait that the situation gets better and that we don't want to put the families in danger, even if it's not like a, yeah, you never know, it's unpredictable, so we cannot show the film at the moment. Some of them saw it, of course, but we couldn't do a screening like we wished, because there's a double crisis now. It's a pandemic, so it's not possible. But some people are still, some of the kids are still in the village and kind of blocked. And there, Crystal, who plays the part of the river in the film, she has she's like brilliant everywhere. She was brilliant in the theater piece, but she's brilliant in school, and she has got a grant, and she's in a college in Leon, in the bigger city. So nice. That's great. And yeah, some different news. Next year there will be election also in Nicaragua, which will again change
hopefully
situations. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess while we've all kind of been in isolation, as a final question, are you working on anything new, anything kind of percolating in the background?
Yeah, I used the lockdown to read and write and yeah. So I mean, spending so much time in Central America made there's more material, there's more interesting things. So I definitely want to go back, even though I promised I would never go back when I came back from shooting, because it was so hard and so difficult logistically, and but the story is what I'm interested in, the history of colonization, so there are more stories there, but I also want to work on more personal stuff and going back to the roots.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm very much looking forward to what comes from that. And
thank you.
Thank you. And I was I loved your documentary. I thought it was very illuminating. I think it's important. So I look forward to more accolades coming your way. And again, thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Yeah, I thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Have a good day.
You too.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.